right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I think somebody said that it's midnight where they are. Wow. So welcome.
Thanks for staying up.
Yeah, welcome. Marc Reisen's back. We didn't scare you away after day one.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was good. Did not scare me away.
It's good to have you here, and good to have you. Mitch and Tyrone and Laura's joining us again as well. Good to see everybody. We're having a good hair day. This is good.
Hi, Samantha. We are. I mean,
yes.
I have a little bit of helmet hair, but that's okay.
No, it looks way cool. We kind of have similar hairstyles, by the way. But anyways, welcome everybody this morning. Tim's in the house.
Hey,
Tim's going to be joining us later today. Just kind of a quick rundown. We have Marc this morning for a couple hours. We're going to have some giveaways, just some random giveaway in an hour. Then we'll have a fun little contest as well. Zach London's up next in about 2 hours. Then Tim is up as well with Catherine Wang this afternoon. So we've got a full fun day planned. So Munir and Tyrone, just hang out with us all day. Why not, huh? It'd be fun if you did. So, yes. Always curious as to where people are from. Looks like Mitch is from northern Utah, so welcome.
Got in Ottawa, Canada.
Ottawa, Canada. Tyrone. Cool. Yeah, I've been to Ottawa. I've been to Utah. I did a Spartan race and have not been to Lithuania. But
me neither.
Welcome, Salt Lake City, Boston, San Diego in the house, just south of us. Bogota.
Snowy Sweden.
Snowy Sweden.
Iran.
Iran. Oh, nice. Very cool.
Awesome.
Central Texas. This is good. Keith's in the house. So, yeah, we're going to have a fun day today. We're going to continue on our app. I don't know if you want to kind of recap of what we did yesterday.
I'd love to. So, yesterday we did spend quite a bit of time actually building up into what our focus was going to be. And so I just wanted to recap briefly. So we started out with one, kind of who's our persona. So we just kind of defined Amy as this creative director and people manager as someone that we were going to target our app for, which was, we all kind of decided on doing this Zen meditation or mindfulness app. And mindfulness is something that's kind of gotten pretty popular in the workplace recently. Apple picked the app of the year for 2017 as Calm.
Yeah.
So we just decided to kind of hop on that train and see what we could kind of come up with. So yesterday we kind of did a little bit of worksheet, some upfront work in regards to our rationale and our purpose. This is something that's really important when you're working on product design, is to really define the why. Because if you're designing with intention and you're designing with purpose, then your creations kind of have a reason for being at that point, which is really, really good validation. So we also went over a couple keywords. So principles is something that we're using to help kind of constrain our design, and something that we refer back to.
And what's that? Yeah, there we go.
Right. So we've got our principles, we've got our rationale, which is a word that you've heard me say quite a few times. So a set of reasons or logical basis for a course of action. And then value proposition. So they say it's a marketing term, but essentially we're just trying to cover what's the intention of this product and how can we convey that to our customers. So everybody that participated came up with the name Zen. So we're gonna...
With an X. Very clever.
With an X.
Thank you for whoever came up with that. I think we had a lot of awesome names and everything, so I think it's going to work out really well.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun just to kind of see all the ideas and everything come together. Word banks and just kind of creating all different types of pronouns and nouns and things that you can kind of come up with is a really fun way.
Cool. And Adobe Live Team, it looks like, posted that link, so that should be basically these slides from day one. So kind of what we're reviewing. So you could kind of check those out at your leisure. And not only that, we're kind of even showing screens that are kind of a little bit more baked, but we initially even started on the iPad using Adobe Photoshop Sketch. So kind of sketched out ideas, thought through everything, and now we get to kind of put some graphics and some design to, the screens.
Yep. Yeah. So anytime before you kind of get into the digital assets, it's always good to sketch. And using Photoshop Sketch on the iPad it's pretty seamless. It's really nice just to kind of go through ideas, and nothing has to be perfect, but you can just kind of sketch out the entire flow, and then that helps you set the expectation for what you need to be doing once you get into design. Because I know sometimes when I get into a software, I can start noodling. And
Yeah.
it's fun.
You can get lost.
Totally.
Totally lost.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and just also to cover what we decided to focus on, we're basically touching on first user experience. And, you know, this is the first impression of the product. And as we kind of talked about that yesterday, you're asking yourself the what and the why of this product. And then as you're going through it, you want to establish the value of what this product's going to be and then fulfill that promise in some way by having some type of delightful, magical moment that kind of empowers the user or the customer and makes them feel really, really good about using this product and sharing it with others. Cool?
Yeah, this is good. And again, this is cool. I mean, just so everybody knows, Mark, you run the mobile design team at Atlassian, so I think it's cool to have such a professional kind of giving us, like, you know, free education and just kind of how you would, you know, lead a team on a certain project, right?
Yeah.
Kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is where products start at any point in time in the process. You always start with kind of the goals and the whys and the rationale. And then whether it's a product or it's a feature or if it's something that you want to improve, it's always good to bring that back, especially as you are working and collaborating with a lot of other people, as we are today. It's really good to be able to explain yourself so that everybody else can jump into that context with you and say, oh, cool, yep, I know what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, and you like your team's remote too. They're kind of all over. So you're like, you pray to God they're on the same page as you. You know what I'm
we
saying?
have teams in Sydney and Austin, all over the place. So
that's awesome. Team in Tunisia by chance?
No.
Because that's where Damien is from. Welcome, buddy, Tunisia. That's awesome. So very cool. We have basically the name. We don't have a logo yet. There's also a contest. So if you're actually going to do work, I would say, you know, the contest is a good place to start. Should I kind of mention that really fast? Essentially, we have this contest. If you go from the chat to the contest tab today, it is about creating an in-car experience, okay? An in-car experience, just download this template file and create a prototype and then post to this link. I'll show you what that prototype looks like right now. It's just like this. So yesterday we did a smart fridge. Today it's an in-car experience. So feel free to download that file and start making something in about an hour and 20 minutes. That'll be the cutoff, actually. But if you get something made, we'll go ahead and happily review it. Just make sure you have 3 screens linked together, publish, boom, and then put this in the, it's like a Google form page, basically. So that's the contest. Yeah, and we also, again, we haven't made a logo. So if somebody wants to make a logo, great. We also have ideas too, don't we?
We do, yeah. We're planning on starting there. And just about the contest, as someone that came from automotive design, I'm pretty excited to kind of see.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, automotive UI is like ripe for disruption because some of the experiences I don't feel have gotten to the lengths of where web and other interfaces are today. So it's going to be really exciting to see how people apply that.
Yeah, man. No, that's cool, and I'm glad we have you here with your background in automotive design and everything. It's just cool.
Awesome.
All right, man. Yeah. So let's get to work.
Okay. So I think we heard some mention of a logo. So let's see if we can start there. One of the things I'm trying to at least illustrate as we're going through this process is you start from the app icon, which is one of the touch points that we identified yesterday. And so that's kind of one of the initial customer experiences where you're setting an expectation. And then from the app icon, you go to the landing screen. So those are some pieces we'll work on. So I think we have some assets in Mark and Paul, right? So we've got this swoosh. Let's just take that over to Illustrator. So this is already in Vector. And I kind of like this. I kind of like the shapes that we have.
That's a very smooth, like, swoosh.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Let's see if we can invert these colors. Maybe this will just work as is, as a logo.
Let's try it. Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's see what that ends up with.
So
I'm gonna have to move this. I know you guys are not gonna like that, but the mic's a little bit in the way. So see if we can scale that down a little bit.
Whoop. So, yeah.
Why not? So I realized
I made this earlier by doing this and then setting it on a piece of paper. So this is basically just a coffee cup stain. I wish.
Nice. So I realized that I've already made some subconscious decisions with this purple. I know purple and blue tend to be in kind of like in color theory end up being more calming colors. So maybe we can stay with that. But if anybody has any suggestions, we've got some other gradients going on over here. I mean, we could definitely brighten up some of this look and maybe make it a bit more.
Yeah, this is just such a like such a hot look right now. Like I'm into it. Like I'm loving the gradients.
Yeah.
I know it's super like trendy now, and I don't care. I'm like I'm all about this color scheme and everything. Like.
Yeah,
and it's totally appropriate for the project.
Yeah, it is. I mean, absolutely gradients and kind of these hot colors. You know, anytime you're working on products, especially in enterprise, you know, you kind of stick to the blues and the very professional tones. So it's kind of nice just to explore other open color palettes and have some hotter colors. One of the things that I do when I'm building these color palettes is I like to find images that have colors in them. It could be somebody's artwork, it could be a painting, and then I'll just kind of eye drop those colors from there. And it's a way to kind of start building out a kind of refreshing color palette that maybe isn't something that's already been created.
Good.
So, all right, cool. So this is looking pretty good. I'm not happy with it.
You're good on that note. So
go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess those cool colors can also portray depression. Sure, you could look at it that way. Honestly, it's not gray, and I think gray and black can be kind of depressing and just like dingy, lack of life. But yeah, it's been proven that 40% of the population blue's their favorite color, and it is very calming. Reminds us of water, and that's kind of where we're going with like Zen, still water. So I think it's
absolutely
kind of works.
Yeah, those are definitely some of the metaphors we're kind of going with.
Totally open to everybody's feedback. Sounds like people do like, you guys like this little swooshy thing? A little swoosh. It's kind of cool. Just so you know where we got this, we actually got this on Adobe stock just for the sake of time. 1,000 other ways to create it, quite frankly, but I love how smooth this is. I like it.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm using the Proxima Nova here, which is a font that is provided by Adobe, I think, as well. I think it was one of the free downloads. And I really like this font. I'm wondering if we can kind of play with the leading a little bit, see if we can't give it a little bit of breathing room. Let's see, let's do, kind of increase the spacing a little bit. When you're playing with the leading and the kerning here, you definitely want to make sure that you're still making sure that the word is legible. You don't want to have it so far stretched out. But by kind of using a lighter font and kind of increasing the spacing in between each of the letters, I kind of want to create an open kind of, you know, basically bring it back to that mindfulness even in the way that we're going to execute on the logo. So I think we can scale this up a little bit too.
Yeah, I think so too. Hey Rob, what's up? Robzilla in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Assistant? Is assistant being spelt wrong?
Is it?
Your mindfulness assistant?
Hey, I'm not. Is it 1S, 2S? Somebody.
Should be A-N-T.
A-N-T?
A-N-T.
Nailed it.
Unless I'm going crazy. I gotta Google it. But like as a designer, you start to look at words as graphics. So you kind of, there'll be an obvious misspelling, and yeah, this kind of happens.
I'm definitely bound to make mistakes.
Thank you so much for pointing that out, Matthew. You are our copywriter for the day. We just nominated you copywriter.
Let's correct that one in there. Got
Sweet.
it. Let's put this gradient back in here as well. Whoa, yeah.
I wanted to kind of point something out real fast since you said mentioning sort of grabbing colors and everything as you're working. Oh, I love that. You're doing so great though. So color.adobe.com, you guys are probably all aware of this. You know, we can come in here and start to tweak all these colors all we want and go through all these different colors and see what complementary colors are to the blue as we work on this. But you said taking photos, maybe, or excuse me, colors from an image. You can go ahead and just like quickly grab an image from, say, your desktop, like I'm doing right now. Ooh, you guys, here's like a hiker image. So this could be pretty calming, but this will kind of pick colors and create a palette from it. Awesome. And then I can actually sync that to our, what do we have here? Mark and Paul. And this could be hiker colors.
Yeah, I like the earth tones. That's, you know, that's probably a totally another path we could have taken with
the
this.
Earth tones.
Are you able to add an image into there of your own? Like if we found an image that we wanted to
we can grab any image from any place and you know, pull the colors from it.
Yeah, there's a couple artists that I really like, and they do really abstract paintings. One of these guys, Jack Van Zet from Australia, and I'll definitely go and eyedrop from his paintings and start pulling some colors just because they're so vivid, and it just opens you up to maybe color palettes and things that you hadn't seen before. All right, so I think we also have some images to drop in here for the value proposition screens, right? Let's see.
And it sounds like what Rob used something called Grammarly for just kind of checking out your grammar and, you know, complete your, you know, whatever sentences. It goes beyond misspellings or whatever, but kind of checks your grammar. So that's a good resource. I like that.
All right. I guess we're gonna have.
Somebody says Kevin's like, put a circle gradient behind the circle of the logo.
You guys want to try a radial?
This is the thing. This is something that we might run into. There is no circle gradient or radial gradient, but what you actually can do is if you do a radial gradient in Illustrator, you can copy and paste it into XD. So you could always go that route if you want to, just as an FYI.
So I think we need some images back here over these. So a couple things we want to have happen on this value proposition is, one, we want to kind of convey the value of the product. We can support that with imagery or illustrations or animations. And then we want to make sure that we can also kind of get people into the product experience by adding some type of sign in or sign up button. So we can go over to...
I like the idea of even... I like the gradients, but I also kind of like the idea of even like using photos too.
And so what we're trying to do is we want to connect between the app icon to the splash screen, and then we can transition the splash screen out by doing a fade, and then we can start introducing the rich photography, which I feel like is going to be really good for this direction, just because
like this stuff.
It should be relatable, and it should help evoke. So let's go into some of the filters. We know we want some vertical formats. And one of the reasons I put in those big blocks of images over there is I wanted to make sure we could at least drag it and already have the shapes back in there. So
done.
We can already tell we're running into some contrast issues. So one of the things maybe we want to look for are darker tone images. This looks a bit ominous.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. This one
maybe
work really nicely. Yep. So this one's a little bit pixelated. Gonna have to quit this.
Yeah, I think Chris, you have that's a good call. Just like if you did just a color cast on some of the photography to tie it into the brand is a good thought. That looks really nice too. That the text really pops there.
Yep. Yeah, we can definitely move this to send backward.
Ayla, yes. So you can copy and paste gradients. And it can be a radial gradient from Illustrator, and it will work. But if it doesn't, let me know. And
So I'm noticing the image is a little bit pixelated. Maybe we can download these a little bit later offline. And then fix them up. This one looks kind of fun.
I like how you're just doing a quick drag and drop. I couldn't really imagine an easier way.
This is actually like really helpful. The fact that it already places it and formats it Just really speeds up the process. There's no clipping, there's no masking.
Yeah.
It really makes it a lot faster.
Another way of doing this as well is like one thing we can do if you know, we also have a Creative Cloud library that I can put images in because I have some Zen-like images.
Yeah.
Let's go. Actually, let's go to, let me do this real fast. So this is nice. Switch into my screen. I have this gorgeous image, this Japan image. Currently is in my nature library, but I can go ahead and copy to Mark and Paul. So that's where it's going to go. He's going to have that image. It is a licensed image, so I'm kind of curious if it's actually going to show up in your Creative Cloud library.
Let's see.
Matthew, you can't apply gradients to text in XD. Oh yeah, let's try to drag it in and.
Alrighty, let's see. We can put this in the third one.
And see how it has that
humongous watermark.
That's what I was wondering what would happen is like basically I've licensed it, but you haven't.
Got it.
And that's fine. Like I can. What I'm gonna do is I think what I need to do is like create a centered version of this or something like that, or I'll work on that, I guess. I think the whole thing needs to, it's way too horizontal.
Yeah, let's see if there's something else. Got some, definitely like this one. These are nice. Definitely feel like we're getting the stone metaphor down. Let's see. Maybe we can get some people in here too. This one's good. Definitely seeing a theme here.
So yeah, Matthews, there's currently no radial gradient, but as we just noticed yesterday, there was an update to Adobe XD where we've added, various new features. So we don't have a radial gradient today. Like tomorrow could be a different story, just because we're, doing a lot of development on this as we speak.
So we can continue to kind of.
What's a no today could be a yes tomorrow.
Bring this logo into each of these views if we wanted to. So we'll start working on what's going to be the primary call to action on here.
Now, if you do want to control that, so basically what you have is you have a container, you drop a photo into that container, and what I mean by that is whether it's a circle or a rectangle, whatever. You could also have an interesting shape and make that a mask too. Mm-hmm. When you use masks, you can move around the image a little bit more accurately, as you already probably know. And that's looking tight, dude. I like how you have that logo up there.
Yeah, I feel like we can decide if we still want it in there later on, but it definitely helps to kind of connect all the imagery together. So we're gonna kind of pick out some basic button dimensions here. Like just a quick pro tip, like 40 pixels used to be like the clickable height and dimension that you wanted on any type of mobile. As screens have kind of increased, it's definitely gone into the 50 and 60 range. So button height, anywhere between like 40 to 60. Also kind of for some like icons and just key touch areas are some things to be cognizant of.
Karen says it's beautiful so far.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. You are a fine individual, and we appreciate you. We are gonna need some photos of people too, so I might pull down some of those and put them in the folder. So, is anyone interested in being part of this app? I hope you don't mind. I might be just taking some photos of people from Behance.
Got some buttons in here. Let's see if we can add the those are. Let's add
There we
some
go. Matthias.
page controller.
Add a Zilla. I will add a Zilla. So yes, if you want to be part of our app, we're going to use some images from your little profile pictures from Behance. Hopefully that's okay. So Rob would love to use this awesome illustration of you. The Zilla's going in. Munir, you got it.
Curious what this is starting to look like. Okay. So we got our splash screen. We can actually start, putting this together a little bit if we wanted to just make each of these screens. So let's see. I think dissolve is probably going to be the best here. Maybe we want to cut down the time a little bit. And then how we want to transition in between each of these screens. We probably want to make the whole screen tappable since we can't really convey kind of like the swiping nature or maybe what would happen here. So if we just...
You could, yeah.
We can do slide left.
Yeah, there you go. But wouldn't the sign up button jump straight to the sign up screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're not
Cool.
is it gonna do that now? Yep, it is.
Whenever, yeah.
So maybe
Thank
we
you,
need
Jeff.
to...
Jeff says this looks so good.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Maybe we can do the little pro tip that I actually got from you watching one of your demos.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can put a box here, and then we can set it to transparent. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then we can make this
Make that a link.
clickable and
Yeah.
a prototype. So let's copy that. Put that on each of the...
And yeah, that would work. I think you could do, the whole image could be sort of a button that goes to the next screen, and then the sign up can be on top of that goes to a screen.
Okay.
Would that work? I don't know. We'd have to check. Or we'd have to check in prototyping mode.
We can
So,
definitely do that.
William, just to recap, we are doing basically making a mindfulness app that we've basically brainstormed yesterday and kind of putting together the screens today. So this is really fun. Just to remind everyone, we do have a contest going on, contest tab. It's all about making an in-car experience. So purple usually tests really well as being a good color. Like it has really positive connotations to it. Like red excites. Yellow excites too, so you don't want to have too much of that. So I'd say these are probably not colors that we want in the app. But purple usually has this signifies royalty and everything. So
yeah. Also, same thing in regards to green, which in most cases ends up being tied to commerce. Orange can also kind of be tied to some businesses. Yeah, color theory is great. It's definitely something to be mindful of. So I just want to see how this is.
All right, Ryan
All
Ford got
transitioning.
his XD socks last week. A touch too big, but you love them.
Cool.
And he got some prints. That's fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up, Ryan, because we will be giving away socks. Just so you know, these fancy socks right here. Handmade by Mark. He did it all last night till this morning. Sewed these, and we're going to give them away in about 30 minutes. So yes.
Cool. So let's just talk about a couple things that we've done right now. We've connected this as a clickable prototype, which is probably one of my favorite features about XD because there's been times where we're doing some type of brainstorming design exercise, and within an hour, you can hand somebody a device, have it loaded up onto the screen, and already have somebody kind of tapping the buttons and kind of button mashing. And it's, you know, I think previously there were other products I think that could probably get you there, but it was never as fast. There was always exporting images. There was always kind of compressing as PNGs and replacing those images. So right now we have the splash page, which is corollary and connecting from the app icon. The reason you have launch screens, just to kind of talk about this a little bit, sometimes there can be content that's loading in the background of the app. Sometimes it can be actually, if you close the app and then open it back up again, it's a way for you to kind of transition into the view or the screen that you were in previously without losing your context. So sometimes you'll see a launch screen that's actually, it looks like empty UI, where it just looks like, oh, nothing's loaded yet. But if you have a product that has multiple types of screens within it, meaning you go from a chat screen to like a discovery screen, it's really hard to predict what type of UI to load. So you do a full screen image that just loads over the whole product. That way, wherever you drop in, there's no like transition that has to have happen, because you can't customize the load screen. It's something that you do in Xcode, and it's something that is controlled by Xcode within like the app icon to the imagery. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So in other words, if we close the product and we wanted to open it back up, if we had it load into this chat screen,
I see what
it's much easier for it to transition that way.
Gotcha.
So we have our launch screen. Tap, it's going to fade out. We're now seeing, okay, we've got some great imagery, the icons at the top of the app. We're now understanding the value proposition. We click, swipes to the left, becoming mindful, click. And so now what we'll start doing is go into the sign-up experience. And I want to talk about, we'll just do a quick mock-up of what sign-ups look like, and then we'll move into the product landing. One of the reasons we put the sign-up button persisting at the bottom is, as much as we want our customer to experience each of these value propositions, we also don't want to stop them from just getting into the product.
Yeah.
So by persisting the button at the bottom at any point in time, if they decide that they want to go in there, they can just jump right into the product.
Yeah.
So we had it persist across each of the screens.
I like it.
Cool.
Again, doesn't get in the way, but it's always there for people to kind of sign up immediately. We got the Zen logo actually from Adobe Stock, just to kind of keep us moving along here.
Yeah, speed up the process a little bit.
You know, and on that note, I know you mentioned you really like how easy it is to prototype. You could have literally that prototype up on even on a separate screen or whatever, and as you're working in XD, it'll actually change in the prototype.
Cool. You want to show me
even
how
if
to do that?
You don't even have to do anything. You just like hit play, right? And then as you make changes to these other screens, it'll update your prototype.
Awesome.
If you move those graphics around and all that stuff, it will actually update.
Cool.
And if you had a, you know, say an iOS device connected, we can preview it there, and that will actually mimic what's on your screen as well, like in real time, which is kind of awesome.
Which is something we should probably do as we get later on in the process, because it's really important to, as we put it on a device, to see, are the buttons the right size? Is the text too small? But you need to see it in context, and you need to see it how it's going to end up on the device.
Yeah.
Okay,
and I know some people that just work and they just have it connected all the time, and they just watch it like refresh, and it's kind of nice.
So let's kind of continue with this drop gradient theme that we have here. And let's see if we can just mock up a really quick sign up or sign in experience.
See how it's changing? I love it.
I have to move it down a little bit.
And if it's getting in the way, that's okay.
So, do this. I'm going to kind of create a little bit of a... And I just want to cover this just because it's important that we talked about onboarding. So this is generally a part of the flow.
And I think somebody mentioned something about the type. I think that's something we'll take a look at, like whether the type is too small or too large. That could be all, like, or whether there's enough contrast, all that stuff. Like, we might figure that out now. We might figure that out once we like show it on a device. You know.
Yeah.
I really like the elegance of this, though.
The fonts that we have over here are basically standard iOS 11 typefaces that I've just kind of condensed into a short list. So my hope is that some of these end up being the right dimension. But with anything, we'll have to kind of see once we get in context.
I noticed you're using your assets panel, using some of those character styles.
Yeah, this has been a game changer for me, just having the palette, having these styles open. As we start creating some more buttons, it's definitely something that I'll start adding into the symbol category as we get over there.
Love it.
So let's...
How you guys doing?
Let's see if we can grab this guy.
Make sure the proper little circle is lit.
Oh, good catch. Let's do this.
Oh, that little circle. Is that a repeat grid?
No. That would have been a good way of doing it. Let's do that real quick.
Bop, bop, bop. And then you could put a...
Tweak the padding down to what we had, which is 8 pixels. So let's take that guy.
So do you have to copy and paste assets, or is there another way to do it? These could be, you know, they could be symbols in your assets panel. That's one way to do it. This is all pretty straightforward. I like that if you copy a circle on one screen and you go to the next artboard and you hit paste, it'll paste it in the exact same spot. So.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to ungroup these. Right.
Thank you, Adobe Live team. Under an hour to get submissions in. We're making an in-car experience today. Just in that contest tab. And just make something beautiful. That's at least 3 screens.
Good catch.
Hello, Hector.
So that's why it's so important to collaborate.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
We just, you get stuck kind of moving along and doing what you're doing, and then somebody else can kind of come in and help refine, curate.
I mean, really, yeah, chat, pick the name, caught misspellings, or catching all these little things that we would probably overlook.
Totally.
And what we can do is we could publish this prototype and have comments and have people like comment on it too. It'd be fun.
Awesome. So
Hector says the app's looking pretty nice. Thank you, Hector.
Awesome. Thank you, Hector.
Everybody's being so nice today, man. I just feel good. I just feel great. Just feeling happy.
So we're going to drop a little system status bar in here, because by that time, some of that UI is going to show up already. So we got email and password. So I think at this point it'd be good to go and grab one of the UI kits so we can put in a keyboard just to kind of show some of the interactions. So
Nice.
I'll download that for XD. I will happily accept these terms of service.
You read all of that, like every single word.
I did, yeah.
Right, earlier.
Yeah, or just then.
You're a really fast reader.
So this is iOS.
Oh, look at that. Adobe XD iOS app kit is actually the smallest as well at 18 megs. So,
Ooh, there's all kinds of stuff in here.
yeah, we're totally looking at all your personal stuff.
Cool. So what we really needed is probably this keyboard, which is something we could
Yeah, so, yeah, Rob
give to
Jenner,
him.
he's a teacher, and I think he really appreciates, especially even yesterday, kind of you going through all your whole thought process. As a teacher, he's saying, thanks for doing that. Thanks for the planning period.
Awesome.
And this, again, you mentioned this yesterday, it's like the keyboard's going to pop up. which is why you have that.
Yeah. So
Fields
let's make this
higher.
as a symbol just so we can probably call on it later on. And so, a couple ways we could approach this. We could actually have this content more centered, and then we could focus into the input field when the customer user comes to the screen. But knowing that this is going to be the next step for them, we can kind of cut out some of those steps by basically saying, hey, look, you've hit the sign up button. The next transition is then going directly into sign up. We can have the keyboard drawn up. We can have all the content above the fold. It'll be really important for us to, make sure that the button is also above the fold. And I know that we're building this for kind of iPhone 6, 7, and 8 pluses right now. But it's equally important as you go into different screen sizes just to make sure that this content is above where the keyboard's going to end up, and make sure that you're not hiding anything. Sometimes you can design these experiences and the button ends up hiding down below the keyboard.
I've had that happen before.
And, just like I forgot and misspelled most of the words in my template, some of these things can get overlooked, and sometimes you forget.
Totally. We're having a pretty zen morning. I'm just digging it.
So what's kind of good about this is that we've kind of created what we need for the screen, but now what we can do is we can kind of make this experience a bit more extensible by taking it and then now implying what the sign-up flow is going to be like. So we can say enter an email and add. And we can do something. So this is a way for us to kind of keep the
15 minutes, then we'll give away the socks. People are all excited about socks.
I love socks. I love designerly socks. I actually have Frenchie socks on today.
Frenchie?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like the cool kind?
So yesterday I showed you a photo of my my dog, and she's a French bulldog, and so I have little cartoon Frenchies all over my socks today.
We're gonna have to in 15 minutes we'll have to check those out when we talk about socks.
I regret sharing that with everybody.
I got fancy socks on too, so I will share my socks with everybody.
So a couple things and just improvements that we can make to this. So I know we're saying email and password. We're making a lot of assumptions that people already know what we're asking for or talking about here. So we can change this copy or this IX to kind of better imply what we're asking for. And because we're also showing kind of like an active state transition, maybe we want to change the text style a little bit just so that it's easily understood that there are state changes here, right? And so what I've also done is that we're showing here that once you tap in to enter your email, and so because we're showing the keyboard drawn, we can start to imply some little experiences here, like maybe we want to show the cursor because we already have the keyboard drawn up. So maybe some of these things will already start
Gotcha. So that's just like implying your cursor.
Right, so if the keyboard's drawn up, then we're basically explaining that we're already into a focus field, or we're into an input field. And as soon as the customer or user starts typing, immediately it's going to start entering that information.
Ooh, that's a good call. Thank you for that, Jean-Eric's like enter your email since you have create your password.
See, this is why these guys are here.
I know. It's making us look good.
So we've got enter email, create your password. What do we think about call to action?
I like sign up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another thing we can do is let's make this an inactive button.
Until you got it.
And so what this is going to imply is if someone comes to the screen and they want to progress, they're not going to be able to basically move forward until they've completed the forms and fields. So it's a really good way to indicate progress. It's also a good way to just let customers and users know, okay, I need to do these two things actually before I get started. Which kind of gets me into another topic, because we could start implying empty or error states here, meaning you didn't enter a valid password, you didn't enter. I'm happy to go into that.
No, it's okay.
But we can just kind of fly through some of these pieces.
But I like how we're thinking about a lot. We're thinking about each and every element like pretty well. So this is good. How do you then move this to production? For example, button sizes, color, etc. Do you make a document with the specs for the development? We can talk about that. Michael, great question.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's like I have a couple new things.
I think in regards to providing all this for production, the next step is absolutely export assets, provide them to your developer team. I really enjoy pairing with developers. At some point while they're going through coding, I like to sit in with them, and if they have questions, we can kind of go through the design and polish.
I will, let me actually at least drop in a couple images to make this a little more interesting, but then I'll share something with everyone that you may or may not be aware of. Just give me 1 second.
We can create, let's pop over here real quick. Can create a little validation icon.
All right, so give me 1 second. You can go ahead and switch over to my screen, kind of give you a second to work on that.
Let's do it.
But so this is the day 2. This is the in-car experience file that I'm working on. So it just says, create an interactive dashboard experience, which is what I'm doing right now. See right over here, just kind of dropped in an image. That's fine. Customizing some of this stuff. Going into prototype. I can select any one of these elements, but basically I want to link this to the next screen, to the next screen. But to answer your earlier question, for the contest, I could publish prototype. So that's what you want to do. But I want to show you a published design specs, which is in beta. We actually have had an enhancement to it. If you are going to submit for the contest, it'd be great if you put in your name, -Paul, so we know which one's yours. Of course, don't put Paul, put your name, unless your name is Paul. Let's check this out. Zoop. But this is design specs. So I can actually click on this text right up here. And I can get the measurements for it. Off to the right-hand side, I get the content and all the details for pretty much anything on your screen. So when Mark was talking about talking to his developers, he could easily pull up the the interface in this design specs view and review it with the developers. Because again, they have the graphics already, but now they can actually get the positions for things, and they easily have the actual screens as well. So now you know. So Gabby's wondering, how do you talk with developers? I don't know, do you have a lot of pushback for your designing when you deal with developers, or?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there should be. I think that there should be a healthy balance of kind of intention and what we want to create from a design perspective and for the customer. But then I also think that there are trade-offs in regards to implementation and what can be built. I think when it comes to anything, when you're working with developers or anybody, it's always just good to just kind of get an understanding of their context and what problems they're trying to solve and how you can help them solve those problems. So generally the conversations go as once kind of designs and pieces have been shared, there's probably a check-in period after maybe 3 to 5 days or a week. And then you kind of come in and they say, hey, look, this is what I have. And generally your mind's blown to some degree because you're just like, oh my God, you accomplished so much in so little time. And then that's when you can then decide at what point do you start to go into polish and start getting into padding and kind of like the minutia of design to making it a bit more crafted and polish versus, hey, we really need to hit some key experiences before we even get into kind of final polish and, basically final implementation.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily go into it initially like being really nitpicky on certain things, right?
Yeah. I mean, just like anything, it depends on timing and priority. But no, absolutely. You pick your battles early on and you just decide what's the emphasis. And also you have to kind of as you have conversations with team members, you understand, though they may not be getting to certain pieces, and that may be the first thing you gravitate to, you know that they're going to get there eventually. So you kind of have that. You always assume positive intent and just like, yep, they're going to get there. This is awesome. And it's always cool to, also sit with developers and just ask them like, hey, what's new? Like, what have you seen? What's the cool new thing? Especially in mobile, there's a lot of things always changing.
Yeah, that's
looking
true.
Sweet.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Look, this is Vahid's logo. Look at this. Very nice.
That's awesome.
Zen. Oh, you're hired. You are hired, my friend. It's pretty cool, right? Looks like a person.
Yeah, I've seen like a little implied head.
Wow.
So
Vahid, man, that's great stuff, man. Are you designer by trade or kind of curious, man? Because you should be if you're not.
So let's see, what do we want to do here?
Let's see, can I? Oh, that's actually the Illustrator file.
Do we want to drop it in?
Us. Yeah, I mean, we can.
So a couple quick things. I'm keeping this really simple in regards to kind of the contrast and the monochromatic tones that we're using with kind of the whites. We could definitely explore other options here in regards to, maybe once somebody has actually tapped into one of these input fields, we could do a state change or a color change to let them know that they're actually clicking in to something. So we could kind of switch over to this blue tone as like an active state if we wanted to. So there's a lot of things that we could kind of explore here. I'm going to keep it pretty simple right now. We could even increase the stroke a little bit.
And that might be something that like a developer I could see like overlooking. Like, oh, the stroke is it's thicker.
Yeah. I mean, trying to get like pixel nuance and the difference between a couple slight pixel changes can be pretty tough, just for anybody, because it's the context, right? They may be coming at it from a 20-foot view, and just looking at it, whereas we're kind of zoomed in and really caring about each of these little pixel changes.
All right, Vahid's a freelancer from Iran. That's awesome. So yeah, fantastic logo. He also has it in XD. We could always copy and paste it, but yeah, we'll worry about that a little later because this is looking pretty good. So we have the sign up. This is good. And then we haven't I'm not 100% sure what the app's gonna do. We'll have to talk about that because it's a mindfulness app.
Yep.
Maybe it does nothing. Maybe it's just like
we've got plans.
Okay.
There's going to be some exciting stuff.
Good. That's cool.
So,
Matthias says it's looking good. Agreed. I noticed you don't really use the layers panel.
Mm-mm.
You send a front, send back.
Maybe if I have to go in and find something, but I started out on XD about 1.5 years ago, and back when the layers panel wasn't there, and I actually really liked how it streamlined my workflow.
Yeah. And that was my comment initially. It's like, okay, well, I'm used to the layers panel. Maybe it's needed, maybe it isn't, but I definitely use it to find certain objects, because if you have a white line on a white, artboard, which you have that, you wouldn't know that necessarily.
So I just want to, so this is where we start to find some of the nuance. I just noticed that it jumped.
It's off a touch?
Yeah, jumped a pixel difference.
Good evening, Kelsey. Kelsey, where you from? Good evening, huh? It's morning time here in beautiful San Francisco. We have a wonderful bay view. See the gorgeous Golden Gate Bridge right out these gorgeous windows. It's very nice here. We have a gorgeous view. We're not in a studio with no windows or anything. We have these gorgeous views. All right, cool. So in a couple minutes we'll do a giveaway, by the way.
Let's do it.
Kelsey's from Cape Town, South Africa. So we have Iran, Cape Town, Tunisia, Bogota, San Diego, Utah. People from all over. Good evening, Victor. Victor, where are you from? Macedonia. Oh, man. I love hearing the names of some of these places. I'm like, I want to go to Macedonia.
I've never been to Macedonia.
Can we invent a time machine or not a time machine, just a teleportation?
Teleportation. That'd be sweet.
Can we make a teleportation app?
Yeah, absolutely.
That just, zaps us there.
Can have a flux capacitor on it and everything.
All right. Victor's from Santa Catarina, Brazil. Sounds like a beautiful place, by the way.
That does sound amazing. My father's from Brazil.
Oh, really?
So, yep, he was born there.
Oh, wow. He's Brazilian?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's early summer. Is it? Oh, that's right. In the southern hemisphere. It's like early summer there. They're like having an entirely different experience south of the equator right now. Is that right? Is that right? Or am I losing my mind?
South of the equator. Yeah, it should be summertime, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so cool. Chris is throwing out some ideas. Chris, man, you're a sharp guy. He's like talking about, things for interesting for the app would be like a meditation timer, tips, guided meditations, exercises for mindful eating, meditating on your commute. I like it. Doing those poses that were on the screens.
Cool. All right, so we've just gotten through our first portion of onboarding.
This is good.
So we'll just click through the prototype real quick. So splash screen, launch screen, and then we kind of come into the value proposition, and here's where we transition from left to right. And then if we click the sign up, we're doing a push up here.
Yeah.
And we're doing a push up because we could transition the screen from left to right, but because we're pulling up the keyboard from the bottom and because we're adding this sign-in flow, and what we will probably do is dismiss the app by pushing all the sign-in login flow down. It's a really good way to start establishing just kind of the hierarchy of how to navigate the app and how it's going to move. So we're pushing up, enter our email. We've got a check mark that shows that it's been validated. Sign up is still disabled, which means we can't sign in at this point. we create our password,
Nice.
and then we're going to go into to sign up, and then we're headed into the app.
I love it.
So how does everybody feel about that? Share your thoughts. Correct spelling
Say
mistakes.
looks great. Cool stuff. I honestly think it's like it's super well thought out. Jean-Eric, there will not be jokes in the app, but he wants to give us a joke, sure. So
cool.
Good
All
joke,
so
though.
we got some sign-ups.
Jean-Eric, that's a good joke. He says, the bartender then said, "We don't serve time travelers here. A time traveler walks into a bar." So you see how it's out of order because he's a time traveler. I like it.
Awesome. I've seen.
How do you zen your home? Kevin Worth? Yeah. Kelsey says it looks fantastic.
That sounds like the next app idea.
Yeah.
I
Ooh.
miss Rufus too. Rufus is one of my favorite bands. I think they're based out of Australia.
Oh, well, actually, they might be referring.
Is there a different Rufus?
It's a different Rufus, but there's a band called Rufus.
Oh yeah, there's also a Rufus. I think that has the umlaut over the U.
Okay.
Maybe.
So Rufus Deutschler, I assume Janet's talking about,
about
Rufus Deutschler, who might, I don't know, he could be a lead singer in a band, who knows? But yeah, he's actually my boss, and he does German streams.
Cool.
Lately, so he will be doing that next week. So yeah, this is really cool. So Texetta says, "Does everything need to have a logo in it?" Have a logo in it? Yeah.
Absolutely not. It really depends on kind of.
Oh, sorry. Does everything need to have a login? Technically, all the data could be stored locally, so there's no barrier to entry. So could you use local storage just for their sessions and stuff like that?
Absolutely. And if I know that when we did some sketching, we actually decided we could move past the login by actually just going straight into kind of the bot experience. Yeah. So we don't actually need to do this, but for the purpose of covering onboarding and just trying to highlight some key experience of input fields, keyboard placement, disabled buttons, all those types of activity, I just wanted to cover that so that we could make sure that again, this is something that we could come to an idea with the developer and say, listen, we're going to build this amazing bot. It's going to do all this stuff. Can we do that? And then maybe there's going to be some trade-offs where it's saying, well, we could do the login, the authentication happening in the chat experience, but that's going to take a much longer time to build. So maybe let's kind of jump into doing the kind of quintessential paradigms for sign-in, and then we can get into the bot experience. And so that may be a conversation that happens.
Yeah.
But in covering onboarding and how that flow goes, I didn't want to just kind of leapfrog and skip over that without providing some context here.
No, this is good. But yeah, that's a good call, like whether you deal with local storage, and I mean, obviously you have some experience with, in general how apps work. So this is a good call. Hilmi, hello, my friend from Saudi Arabia. Welcome.
So I'm thinking once they get here, once they click sign up, they're probably going to need to land immediately into the product. And I know one of the things we talked about was using kind of this chatbot experience. So I think we can start to give that bot a little bit of personality, and maybe even introducing them here. So I know this is something that Travis had mentioned in some of his previous sessions in regards to grid and kind of the rule of eights. But a lot of the dimensions that I'll use are generally divisible by 8 in some way. So you'll see a lot of 32 and 16 point pixel padding. You'll see a lot of button sizes being 320 at a 60 pixel height. And so all of that helps to, if we were to kind of use the Adobe XD grid layout, and we were to put in kind of gutter width of 80, column width of 80, we can already start to see that there's some alignments issues that I could definitely improve here.
You could do, instead of sign up, it could be with an X, sign up. Just joking.
I think that
oh yeah, so Sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
no worries.
I did mention that we are going to do a giveaway
Let's do it.
for some fantastic socks. So, just let us know that you're alive, that there's somebody at the other end of your keyboard, and just say hello, and that's how you're going to enter to win a pair of socks randomly. And especially if you say nice things to Mark about how cool his scarf is today.
So I know we talked a little bit about what we want to have happen in this app. Metrics was something that we discussed yesterday, which is how could we kind of track our journey and basically be able to come back to previous experiences or how well we're doing within our meditation and mindfulness. Activity was another piece that we talked about, maybe tracking that activity through metrics. And then discovery could be another one, which is how do we want to discover other types of meditation exercises. So what I'm actually going to do right now is I'm going to kind of go through the bot introduction.
And maybe when as we start to,
Let's
just
grab
looking at
that.
that shadow. Looks like everybody's interested in the socks, huh? Loving it. The legendary socks will be given away here in a second. And maybe with enough coaxing, we can see Mark's socks. Or not.
I'll pull them up. Do I need to do it now?
Well, we're giving away these socks, so it seems appropriate we're talking about socks. I'll show you mine.
Yeah? Let's see.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. I wore a special one, so look at mine. Mine are Adobe.
Oh yeah, those are some. So I've got.
I don't know, this might be kind of hard to see, but
Can we
get
see
it up
these?
higher. Ooh, they're green. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Ooh,
Oh,
these
man.
are. Oh, look at like a little French bulldog.
French bulldogs
French,
on there.
and it's green, so it's actually your leg is disappearing. Here's mine. Mine are the Adobe, or excuse me, the different InDesign, Photoshop, all that fun stuff. And that's Dreamweaver, which is where the hole is. So yes, those are awesome socks, man. I love that green.
Thank you.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the
Our
green
sock
screen.
game's like on point today, and yours can be too. We're gonna be picking a winner here now, and the winner is Marc Lapointe. Congratulations, Marc Lapointe. Join Cool Kids Club as you have a cool pair of socks. Marc Lapointe, let us know that you heard us. We'll be hitting you up via Behance, so we'll message you there. So congratulations, Marc Lapointe. Sock game on fire, Samantha. That's right. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, you freaking rocking it. I like it.
So I've dropped Laura's avatar in here. She's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be. She's definitely been saying hi.
Yes.
And it's the second day here, so I figured, Laura, if you want us to change the photo or replace it, I'm happy to do so. But we're bringing you along with us.
Yeah, that's nice.
And you're going to be taking the persona
I
of
put
the
a-
mindfulness assistant.
And just so you know, I put a lot of photos in there. I mean, you might not need that many, but
Okay, awesome. So what we're doing is, after you've signed up, you're going to basically come into this intro experience where the bot's going to be greeting you. And we started scripting out a little bit.
And is Laura? I'm sorry, but is Laura the bot?
She is.
Oh, okay. She's
that
our
okay?
mindfulness.
She's our
bot?
mindfulness
Oh,
bot.
wow. Laura's our Zen
So
coach.
yeah, I think we could make this a character. We could make it. It could be some type of shape, like the Cortana or like the Siri waves. Like we could go all different types of directions. But because we're using real photography, and there's this air of authenticity, I feel like it's really important to show a profile here.
Yeah.
So Laura's going to say hello to us. She's going to say, I'm your mindfulness assistant. And then maybe she'll ask us, I actually don't know why this is italicized. So maybe we can just make that regular.
So yeah, do you use? I mean, TechSeta, you ask a good question. Like at Atlassian, do you use like Creative Cloud? Do you use XD? Do you use like maybe use Sketch too, or are you kind of like all over the map, or what?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually going through a process right now of trying to refine our workflow and tools. We try everything. Everybody's provided with Adobe Suite. Everybody has access to Adobe. Sketch is pretty prevalent. A lot of people will use and design Sketch. And I think it really depends on what you're doing. I think that, today, if you're spending time in Photoshop, there's all kinds of opportunities in regards to marketing material and content that's going out that's going to be done in Photoshop. And so yeah, we use everything.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, definitely use Adobe.
Well, that's good to hear. You do use Adobe and you use Laura's avatar. Internally too, not just today. It's usually all the time we're using Laura's avatar.
Oh, really?
No, you do, like at work.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but
Yeah,
she's
photo.
in all the internal apps. You didn't know that, Laura?
So I'm just gonna.
Yeah, Kevin, that's a good point, because like I think there's a fine line between mindfulness and Zen and boredom. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
So I just want to make sure I'm still moving everybody through this. So a couple of things that I'm thinking about, and I did some sketches of this yesterday, so maybe we can switch over to the iPad just so everybody's dropping into the context real
sweet.
quick.
Very nice.
Can everybody see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Photoshop Sketch.
I'm showing the splash screen here with kind of the name, and then I kind of omitted the login sign-up experience here. But then what I'm doing is I'm sketching out when I'm imagining this conversation happening between this mindfulness assistant. And I wrote down some basics, like some greeting. Maybe they'll ask for your phone number or email if we wanted to move the sign-up flow into this part of the process. We could ask, are you male or female? In case we want to curate the experience for us personally. Or we could ask whether or not we want a male or female, also mindfulness assistant or persona. So maybe that's an option that we can change. And then maybe they ask, the first thing is, how are you feeling? Or what type of mindfulness do you want to practice? So what we're going to do is go through this kind of script or decision tree of how we make decisions in this conversation with this bot. That's going to help us navigate deeper into the product experience, and then kind of get set up with this mindfulness app. That way it understands what type of meditation we're interested in, what type of activities we're interested in, and what are the things that we're really excited about working on.
Yeah, and I like out of all those questions, I mean, I like the how you're feeling. Like I like that's like interesting to me. Like I guess like kind of dive into like I've already logged in. Like,
So
how
just
many
starting
of
there.
these personal, like I want to dive right into like, hey, how are you doing today?
Awesome.
And more importantly, like how are you feeling?
I think that's great. Yeah, absolutely. I think if we could have this product start every day that way, let's say when you wake up, the first thing you do is get a message, and it's just like, how are you feeling? And maybe we could respond with.
And I like that already. It's like you care.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's already a positive vibe. So yeah, it's good.
Cool. So let's do that.
Yeah, let's switch over to the suite.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Kelsey, just 18 minutes to enter the contest, just so everybody knows. It's, as I switch over, it's this contest tab right over here. Zoop. See the chat? We have contest here. Just download this XD file, link 3 screens together at least, and what you have is, something like, you'll basically have this file. So I'll check in a second to see if we have any entries, and it's okay if you, is assistant spelled wrong again? Is it?
You guys.
Man, it's just one of those words for you.
Just on top of it. So I also tend to be a little bit dyslexic, so there's also a lot of.
I have
room
those
for error
certain
there.
words like that where you're just like, I'm always misspelling. I always have to ask how do I spell the word restaurant? That's a stumbling one for me.
Hardest word in the world.
Yeah.
It is the hardest.
I'm like, why?
So again, I'm taking a similar path to what I did with sign up, where I'm kind of building up some content, and then I'm going to extend that out to then make it part of a user flow or a journey. So I'll just start moving some of these assets around. I'm really not digging this dark blue text here. I think we could, there we go. A little bit easier on the eyes.
Yeah, I like...
So, we already decided the follow-up question should be, how are you feeling today? So let's start with that. 16. Let's change that one. Cool.
Okay, as you're... Give me 1 second, but I think as you're working on that, I can show... I'm not quite ready yet, but look, thank you so much, Adrian and Armando and Varun actually have in some entries, so really appreciate that. Show them here in a second. So again, 3 entries. And Armando actually won yesterday, so congratulations to you. So that's awesome. All right, yeah, let's dive into this. So looks like we have Varun's in-car experience for the contest. I'll just show a couple of them since just for kicks. That's what we're working on. We have this nice in-car experience from a Varun. All systems are online. Autopilot. This is probably persistent at the top. Going pretty fast, I must say. So clicking here, looks like we can go to probably like a navigation.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
So this is pretty cool just because already there's a couple conscious decisions, right? There's really, really dark and high contrast elements, which in in a car setting, this is going to be really powerful to not necessarily distract and pull your eye in if the whole screen were white.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
Yeah, good point, yeah. And yeah, you can make some calls as well. So yeah, this totally works.
This person is driving unsafely if they're trying to make phone calls at 130.
Oh, Varun, fantastic. I got 2 more real fast. Armando, who won yesterday. This is nice. Got a nice map view. Very easy to work with. Let's click around. Let's go to the next screen. Okay, let's go back. Clicking here. Contacts, music, settings, night vision. I like the little scrolling list. Music. I like how Armando blurred out those covers. That's very nice. Settings. And then we have night vision. Ooh, here's your dark. There's like a dark version.
Mm-hmm.
So Armando did a light and dark. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Let's click into just a couple other screens. Yeah, pretty much covered everything. Good stuff. Oh, here's the dark version, by the way. Great job.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, this is good. One more. You can continue to work.
Okay, great.
I want to give everybody's designs a day in the sun. Adrian's in-car experience. I really like these icons. This is good. Drive safe, Marc Reisen. Gorgeous map. Nice big buttons if you're driving. Talk mode, this is good. So like a Siri experience, voice activated. What do you want to know? What is the pressure of the wheels? The pressure of the wheels is 32 psi. Anything else, Mark? No thanks. Camera. I love it. Adrian, great job. Yeah, this is good.
I'm so impressed how quickly everybody's able to. I'm over here noodling between sign up and login forms, and you guys are creating whole car UIs. So it's all about the journey, though, right?
Yes, Kevin, that's a good point. Kevin's like, I'd like to know how my car is and where I left it. So Kevin, man, mock that up. I'd love to. That's a great call. Like, where is my car? Where is my car?
Dude.
Where's your motorcycle?
It's in the garage.
Yeah. Yes, Adobe Live team. I agree. Very nice, everyone. And only 4 submissions in, so your odds are good.
So if they asked you how are you feeling today, what are some options that you'd like to
personally
have presented?
I would like
spectrum wise.
Yeah, and in the like whether it's words or icons.
Okay.
You know, so I'm thinking of emojis right now.
Totally.
That's kind of where my head's at.
Let's do it.
You know,
I think words and emojis could actually work really nicely.
Yes.
Just because we want to make sure that we're also clearly communicating. It just so happens.
Oh, do you?
I've got some.
Oh, good.
I've got an emoji sticker sheet right here.
Oh, let's imagine that.
So we've got this person's looking a little upset. This guy's
He's looking a little
green.
sick.
We got a meh,
Stress.
kind of meh, grumpy face, maybe. I don't. Or is this like a?
I don't know.
Like an are you serious? We've got some worry. We've got some sad, which everybody feels sad at some point. Got some happiness.
Yeah.
Anything else? We got it's getting lit fan over here.
Or feeling nerdy down at the bottom. I don't know.
So yeah, this is
definitely the top 4 and happy face and meh. There needs to kind of be. There does need to be a neutral like meh. I'm indifferent.
Absolutely.
You know, so I like that.
Cool. So let's take.
So Isabel, just to recap, we're working in Adobe XD, and you can enter the contest, which we just showed off some of those examples. Just click on that contest tab just behind chat. Install Adobe XD, even just install the trial, and if you make a prototype and it wins, you could win Creative Cloud for a year. So imagine that, starting out the day with a trial version and ending up with the full version, as well as Photoshop and everything else.
Let's throw down our little repeat grid here.
Oh, by the way, so just real fast as you do that, keep working. Armando won yesterday, so really it's between currently like 3 people, Adrian, Armando, and we got Newton's in as well. So Adobe XD allows you to design and prototype in one experience, and that's what you're working on now.
Yeah, looks like we got a pretty solid grid there of options. Feeling like we could probably get a little bit. Let's go to 24. 24. Again, all divisible by 8. Felt like the padding was could still be a little bit tighter. I think let's go to 16. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Are you going to put those icons on these buttons or words or something? Okay. You know, I would.
Let's see how they all.
Yeah.
Let's not lead with angry.
Yeah. Like you. Yeah. Okay.
What are you thinking?
Oh, I'll throw out some ideas in general, like, you know, is there, because you have such beautiful gradients in the app, is there a gradient of colors? Is it like a bar and it covers a spectrum of feelings?
Totally.
And, you know, might be another thing to do a scrolling thing, but like, is there a band of color from red to blue to yellow? And actually I'd flip that. Yellow is happy, blue might get a little sad, and then red would be angry.
Absolutely.
Like, could you?
Let's design that. Let's iterate real quick.
Yeah.
Let's pick out a. Let's see. So you're saying. First, let's get this spectrum going in the right direction.
Oh.
So you're saying maybe we're going from kind of hot.
Yeah, something like that.
To cool to mellow.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, I mean that even looks great, but you know, do we? open to suggestions, everybody. We're trying to cover sort of the spectrum of feelings, like how are you feeling today? And honestly, it's hard to put some of that into words, but I'm like, I identify with a face. Like, I feel like this way.
Maybe what we can do, let's...
You know what also would be kind of interesting is... yeah, so Karen LePage, that's actually one of the top requests is like a sticky nav as well. And yeah, for XD, we hear ya. That's nice.
Just kind of imply.
Look at you, fancy.
I mean,
that was dope.
I'm just winging it here.
That's awesome.
I'm just having a good time.
Yeah, it's super cool. I like what you did there. So that was a repeat grid. I know there's some people who are not familiar with XD. So, and Isabel, to answer your question, we're basically, we have this avatar, otherwise known as Laura, who's our sort of like our meditation guide, or what would you call her?
Yeah, she's going to be our mindfulness assistant. But what we're doing is we're basically creating a dialogue that's helping us to get information and help us walk us through the experience. And then this is going to be someone that we can kind of talk to throughout the product experience that's going to be greeting us every day, asking us how we're feeling, depending on whether or not we say we're tired or if we're stressed. That would be a good point to then say, oh, well, I've got these meditation recommendations for you if you're feeling a little bit stressed or worried today. And all that would happen through this kind of dialogue. And yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So let's see if we can make a little... So if I wanted to make this like almost like a map drop pin, what would be the process to do that? If I wanted to make a point here.
Oh, love it. Thank you for asking. Just double click on it again. Oh, look at that. Now grab that bottom point, double click on it, boom, pull it down. Was that too easy?
Wow.
You want it to be harder?
No. That was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and there's other ways, because even when you combine elements, you're not, typically say Illustrator, use Pathfinder, you'd combine two shapes and then you'd lose those vectors. You don't lose those vectors when it comes to XD.
Awesome.
So, let's point that out.
So this was kind of,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you crank up the drop shadow just so we can, so everybody can see it on screen, because it's gorgeous, and I want to make sure it comes through.
Let's put it up to 40.
See?
Does that work?
There you go. Yeah.
And are these? Yeah. Look at those. Are all kind of.
I mean, if you guys think the colors and everything look good in the stream, it looks really good on your screen. I mean, all the subtlety of the shadows and everything. So, Farouk, just so you know, yeah, I mean, all of these basic, shapes, you can double click on them and access the individual points. So, yeah, super easy. Oh, Anas, we did get yours. Let me actually, give me 1 second. We have... Newton Ryan's, we have yours, Anas, and we have Mohan's. So thank you.
So I'm kind of imagining this from an interaction level. Oh, thanks, Kelsey. Which you suggested, this kind of slider experience. But I'm kind of imagining this being something that you kind of tap, and as you tap, it would invoke the UI, and then as you slide, you could kind of imagine going through this spectrum of emotions. And
like
we can't imply that necessarily from an interaction, but what we could do, and what we'd like to just show to everybody is that, this is kind of what you could expect, that as you're swiping through this, you would see this kind of teardrop shape pop up. You could swipe through, select it. I know we're leading with anger, which maybe that's okay, just going from warm to cool. But maybe what we can do is we can say, in this case, we're choosing meh because if we choose meh, then we can jump into kind of the meditation examples and pieces. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good. You know, and this is an interesting thing to kind of take a look at and play with. But Kevin's like, you know, essentially we're mixing photography, and then we introduced like an emoji, and you know, or should we be mixing a cartoonish thing with, you know, realistic photos? I think it's okay. I think it's all right.
Yeah, I think so. The way that I'm kind of thinking about this is, if we look at the way we've executed the buttons and the radiuses and kind of the friendliness, and that this is happening in a conversation, I think it's really important to try to mimic natural behaviors of the way that, you know, you and I would chat, right? Okay. So we would probably drop some emojis in. We would probably, on occasion, use something. And so I feel like that's going to be a really natural conversation. If we didn't have emojis in here, then I feel like we'd almost be missing out on creating kind of what ends up being fun and candor, but also a way to share emotion in a playful way. Yeah. And I think that that's really important to not necessarily, because if we're talking about mindfulness, it can be, you know, not a serious topic, but something that you want to be sensitive to. And so I think bringing in emojis helps kind of even it out and maybe disarm it a little bit. But happy to accept feedback. No, and I mean, essentially what you said is basically like we're using emojis. It's just we're using them as dialogue, basically. Exactly. A way to communicate. So you could call it cartoonish, but we're using it as a dialogue. So that's perfect. I like it. I want to show off some of these designs. Let's do it.
All right. So we'll just switch over to me if you could. We have Anas Ramoons. I like the split screen view. You have your music, then you also have your navigation, which is really cool. Let's click voice activated. It's updating. I'm looking for nearby stations. Very cool. Let's actually go through all the screens. Yep. Okay, here we go. Selecting the phone icon, you can call, and yeah, those are the different areas. Cool. I like the split view. You're also taking advantage of presentation mode in Adobe XD, so good job on us. Let's go to Newton Ryan's. His experience. Welcome. I will click anywhere. Who are you? I'm going to be the moody Mark guy right here. My experience, so we can sort of customize, I guess, the seat. Change your seat with sliders. And yeah, perfect. Custom experience. Very nice. Thank you, Newton. And lastly for now is Mohan's. His is pretty large. Let's shrink this down. 3 screens. Initial view is your speed, music. I bet you're driving pretty fast if that music's playing. Music view, and then we have sort of your phone contact list as well as dialing, so anybody specific, your history as well. Cool. I like that. I like the history. I like the contact. That's awesome. Although, yeah, totally works. So good job, Mohan. All right. Cool. And yeah, so we'll give you, I don't know, a couple more minutes. We'll give you 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna stop the, you know, we'll basically pick a winner from these prototypes, and they'll win Creative Cloud for a year. It's looking pretty good. So we're gonna do, yeah, basically 10:39 exactly, and in about 30 minutes, we'll have Zach up. Zach just walked in. How you doing, man? All right, Zach London up next for a couple hours. We've got a full day planned, so this is good. We're working on our mindfulness app. We're getting our Zen on. And thank you, Adobe Live team, because we're going to have giveaways actually every hour, but basically every 2 hours you have a chance to win Creative Cloud. Mark Lapointe, when you make an app, do you have to build a version for every device size? For example, iPhone sizes?
I don't think you have to build the design. I think you need to be conscious of the scaling that's going to happen between the screens. With every new release that comes out, some devices start getting omitted. So at some point, like the 5C and other phones are just not widely accepted. Mm-hmm. And depending on understanding how your customers or what platforms they use, you know whether or not you need to design for those platforms. But generally, it's both Android and iPhone. And then from there, you kind of start with most used screen dimensions, and then you kind of work your way down. But generally, through the development and in products like Xcode, they scale these apps for you really, really nicely, and it's kind of already done.
Okay, good. And just so you know, if you do click on the artboard tool underneath the type tool, off to the right-hand side, you get all those sort of presets for those different sizes, in case you're curious to all that good stuff. So just FYI.
Awesome.
What if our mindfulness assistant actually had like issues? It's like, yeah, I feel meant to. I'm just feeling horrible. Do you have any advice for me? And you just use some reverse psychology. So like, you are encouraging the mindfulness assistant, and then it, in turn, like makes you feel better.
I think that's a great idea. One of the things that we're going to realize that's a pitfall with this experience is. If we were to kind of map out all these decisions that have to happen in this app, everything leads to kind of like a decision to then subsequent decisions. Meaning, if she says, how are you feeling today? We're presented with options, and then any one of those options is going to then create solutions. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be really hard for us to engage naturally by kind of typing and talking to them, as much as we need to curate this experience with if you choose happy, here are the options. If you choose sad, here are the options. Mm-hmm. And then how you can kind of go back from that. So it's, in some ways, it's going to be a challenge for us because we need to just figure out. So right now I'm trying to focus on, so she's introduced herself. We're then presented with the option to say hi. We tap hi. Hi shows up. She says, how are you feeling today? We're then presented with this kind of spectrum that we choose our feelings. Mm-hmm. We send our feeling, and then that goes up into kind of a chat bubble as meh, and then she has a response to that as saying, here she's kind of, Laura's saying, seeking empathy by saying, sometimes there's sympathy there, right? Like sometimes I feel meh too. Here are some ways to help with your mood.
Yeah. You know what would be really cool about this is, first off, meh just means you're doing okay. Not great, not that bad, that somebody was asking. Yeah. What would be kind of neat is, because we have all these vibrant colors and we're kind of in this white space right now, when you select your meh, which is blue, is the background on the next screen like blue?
Oh yeah, like a transition?
Yeah, and it's like, since I picked that mood is my screen that color, and I would just love to see it go from, say, it's a red to a yellow, like if it transitioned. I'm just throwing out ideas.
No, that's a great idea. Let's take a look at what that looks like.
All right, and get your submissions in, guys. It's closing in a minute. And just to answer your question, Saskia and Chandra, we did get your entries in. So we'll look at those.
So yeah, we got some, let's take this color out of there. That's pretty poppin' now, man. I'm a little, so what we've actually done.
It's a bad idea?
No, but one of the things that we've actually done is we've now pulled the conversation with Laura into the foreground and put our responses into the background. And so from a contrast level, we need to kind of decide what's the focus here. Do we want to focus more on the content that Laura is sharing, or is it more important about our responses? So I've already prioritized Laura's.
I think Laura's should be prioritized personally because like I've just typed that in. I don't need to read it again. I typed it in. So.
And some things we can start to play with is we can play with the opacity of shapes. And if we do that, maybe it knocks it a little bit back into the foreground so that it's not as high contrast like that. So maybe all these have a transparency level to them as color comes in. So here we're responding. So what do we think would be some, maybe a lighter version? Okay. What do we think are some good options or solutions to kind of the meh?
What was that again?
So if we're saying this is our current mood, what would we want to be presented with?
I don't know. I would like to have like pet a kitten. You know, like can we just see pictures of your French bulldog? You know, like. You know, and maybe that is maybe just like, you know, just a little distraction. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
No, that's great. Like maybe she could, maybe they could throw in like a GIF or something to kind of lighten the mood.
Yeah.
Okay. Like a kitten GIF.
Maybe it's like, maybe it's like, yes. And maybe her response is like, sometimes I feel like this. And it's just a kitten rolling around. But it's kind of off the wall. And it's like your intention is not to ignore the feelings, but to lighten the mood. So,
okay. Yeah. You know what? One of my favorite GIFs is actually the rabbit falling out of the chair. Have you seen this one? Where is it? Rabbit in the office. Where is he at? Oh, it's the rabbit sleeping.
Oh, rabbit sleeping, huh? Oh, man.
Yeah, this guy.
Let's see, where is it? Can you zoom in? Okay.
Is that a meh? What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, it's super cute. Okay. I think it does a good job of, yeah, that's good.
All right.
It does a good job of like saying, here's your feelings. Like I'm listening to you, and here's a fun. The issue is like right now, what we'll run into is the fact that we can't have animated GIFs necessarily in XD, but we'll get a picture of it, so this is good.
Totally, but as long as we're kind of implying part of the experience and we're able to kind of connect those dots, I think we're still doing a good job. So let's see. Nope. Let's see. Just might do it this way. Boom. All right, so she's totally feeling it. Sent us a funny rabbit GIF.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like this.
So we'll have to change the copy here. Sometimes I feel mad too. And then maybe we can do the follow-up afterwards.
All right. And I'm getting all of our entries. The contest is closed for now. And yes.
You know, as I'm looking at these other screens that have the white background, it's just everything doesn't look as vibrant now as what we had.
Yeah, the white screens seem kind of like.
So one of the things that I do, and this is pretty common with my workflow, is as we kind of move and jump into different screens, this kind of becomes part of our designer inventory, which is kind of the designs that we work around that maybe we don't choose to kind of commit to, but we kind of want to save them to kind of come back to or just remember some of the decisions that we made. And so I'm just going to move some of these screens out of view from where we are. So this is chat intro, and then chat, select your mood.
And we'll have to review these designs too.
You see what I'm saying? It's just the white background just isn't doing it any justice right now.
It's not. It's
we
like
need some more color in there.
you know, we want it to be spacious and not empty. And might be looking a lot. Can we maybe we'll get some inspiration from some of these designs as well. So here's Chandra's in-car experience. This is our contest today. Go through here. Let's go ahead and hit this big start button. Love the colors. Voice activated. Call John. This is good. Yeah, we'll call John. Talking to John. We see those sound waves. Let's go to the next screen. Up. Change next song. Okay, so everything's voice activated here.
Great.
I like this.
That's awesome. That's
persistent, like probably this persistence down here is really nice. So, Chandra, great job. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really well done.
This is our next one. So, looks like we're having this nice welcome. Let's dive into navigation. Great. Music. Really clean. I like it. We can always go back. Really easy to navigate this. And looks like we have two back buttons. But hey, that works. And this is one we already looked at, right? Or no, we haven't. We have not looked at this one. So this is nice. Complete persistent nav up here. Again, oh yeah, we did look at this. So we have the history and everything like that. But just to kind of review the previous ones. So I can go into this one as well. Anas's, so navigation, calling, that works. This should be Newton Ryan's, and this is sort of picking your profile, you're adjusting your seat, and just kind of remembering you.
Great.
And Varun's is very nice. I think this is a contender.
Mm-hmm.
Armando actually won yesterday, but I still want to do a shout out to his because he has actually, 10 screens in here. His had a light and dark mode, which was really cool. And then Adrian's. It's really cool. Let's kind of get these figured out, man. I think this one's fantastic. Man, this is Armando. You already won, but I really appreciate that entry. It's fantastic. This one's very nice. Mm-hmm. This one's cool. I think it could use a little bit more, so kind of move past that one. I like this persistence here. This one's not bad. A little bright considering it's going to be in a car. If there was a dark mode, I think that one would be a contender. This one has the 2 back buttons, but it's pretty clean. So I think I have my at least top 4, which I like this one. I like this one, and I like this one. There's one more back here. Sorry, everybody, for me moving around all these browsers. Anas's is great, but these are my top 3.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I really love the intention behind the voice control. I like the fact that also people are anchoring the UI to either the left or the right to actually be within a reach zone
This one?
of a driver. Yeah, Chandra's is actually my favorite.
All right, Chandra's it is. Congratulations, Chandra. You are a winner of Creative Cloud for a year. Congratulations, Chandra. We're going to contact you via Behance, and fantastic job. This is really cool. Again, nailed it.
Yeah, great job.
Good stuff. So we'll go ahead and have this installed in the car and pull it around to your front yard because you also win a car. No. But that's awesome. So thank you so much, everybody, for entering. This contest is going to be going on all day today. We just pick a winner every, 2 hours, basically every session. So Zach has the opportunity to pick the winner next. So, or that big responsibility. So.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
All right. Chandra's is nice. Let's see where yours is at. And we're down to about 4 minutes. And I think we're doing fantastic here. Can we just kind of
recap?
Yeah. And are these linked up yet?
That's what I was going to do. That way we could actually go through where we're at today.
We can do that in a couple
Let's do it.
minutes. And
Go to prototype. So this is going to
push down.
push What that means is that's going to push this down, correct?
Yeah.
Great. So that's good. And then we're going to have this. I think tomorrow we'll have to come in. I know that we've been moving through the experience, but tomorrow we'll have to come in and start putting in what's going to be our bottom tab navigation, what's going to be our top header navigation, and what are the other pieces that we want to start navigating into. So this is going to go to, we need to make sure that we're kind of putting in the right interactions. So this is and this just might have to be a fade or dissolve.
Yeah, so
Let's just see how this looks. Go ahead.
Oh no, just answering this question. The website for the free concept app ideas, that I think Zach used that yesterday. What was that site called?
App Idea Generator.
App Idea Generator. So.
And someone's asking, I think, when Tim's going to be on, and that's at 3 o'clock. That's Tim for the dating app?
Yeah.
One.
Yeah. 1. Yeah. Sorry, 1 o'clock.
Okay, he's done
Yeah.
at 3. Got it. Cool. So just what we covered today. Again, kind of hitting on the first user experience, onboarding experience. We've got our splash screen. Splash screen then takes us into our 3 value proposition screens. So these all have kind of full bleed images, one call to action, so really simple. Click the sign up. Sign up pushes up from the bottom. Here we're asked to kind of enter email and password, fly through that, and then complete our sign up. And then the first thing we see is our message from Laura, and she's basically saying, hello, my name is Laura. So we may want to come back and revisit this and make a little bit more of an intro and get into the kind of how are you feelings and what she's here to accomplish. And then we can kind of walk through opening up other aspects of the app outside of chat that are going to allow us to discover other opportunities of mindfulness, getting into the metrics and the activity screen, which I think is going to be really valuable. And then maybe there'll be some component of profile. But tomorrow we'll just move through all the views of the screen, put in the navigation, and kind of round out some of this chat UI.
Yeah. I mean, it's looking really good, man. This is awesome.
Awesome.
So yeah, and big thank you to everybody in chat, 'cause you guys helped us with the name of the app, catched all of my spellings,
Yes.
kind of helped us think
spelling
through
mistakes.
this, right? So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you guys. Yeah, we're about a
thank you so
minute
much.
out.
And are we going to have another
Yeah.
contest tomorrow?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a different
Every
one
day.
tomorrow. So
Awesome.
yes, get your in-car experiences done today, and yeah. It's cool because some people have actually already won, so they're kind of, the more people that win, it's the more odds you have of winning, because pretty much everybody's going to have Creative Cloud someday that we've either given to them or who knows what.
That's outstanding.
But
Awesome.
Marc, we really appreciate you. Obviously,
Thanks,
you working with a
Kevin.
team and showing us the real world take on this stuff. So, and we'll also share the prototype tomorrow as well.
Yep.
This be good. Thank you, Gabby.
Yeah, I want to
Everybody.
make everything available just to everybody that way, whether they want the goals and the sheets or kind of the process and the flow.
I want-
it'd just be really good for everybody to have access to that stuff.
Yeah, and we'll share it in real time tomorrow. But I love your thought process and everything that you've shared with your goals and everything. So cool.
Awesome.
Alyssa, Matthias, Laura, Kevin, everybody stick around. We have Zach London, Michael Shays up next. Super cool. They're going to be tackling their super sweet app that's probably going to be real someday, because I think they're solving real problems. Appreciate you guys doing that. Super fun.
We're excited to have Zach up.
They're awesome. Thanks, everybody.
So-
Stick around.
Awesome.
See Marc tomorrow. He's coming back.
Yep. Tomorrow we're wrapping it all up.
Wrap it up.
Wow.